Welcome back, everyone, for a super exciting addition to last week's stream. I want to say this is part two of the craziness that is us taking over the Titan studio. Yeah, so today we're going to be continuing what we did last week. I will be doing all the basing stuff for the skeleton, the dragon skeleton thing that I was working on. And what are you doing, Lindsay?
I'm going to be basing my dryads that I was working on. Yeah.
So lots of greenery today. Lots of like nice, fun, easy stuff. I think a lot of people are waiting for, you know, the conclusion to some stories. We ready to get into it?
Yes.
Awesome.
Let's do it.
Let's get creative. All right, so this is essentially kind of where we left off last week. We have the slightly more weathered, watery, gross skeleton that I painted up last week. Off stream, I did paint the horns and spines and stuff black because we didn't get to that last time. But other than that, you can see Lindsay's little dryad peeking in there with the pistachio.
Yes, with the pistachio. I did add some greenery to the base, just as like a guideline for what I was going to do today. But yeah, there he is.
Awesome. Yeah. So let me grab this really quick, and let's get going. You know, it is also 1,000 degrees outside.
Yes.
For those of you who don't know. We're going through a bit of a heat wave. So, yeah. Thankfully, we have air conditioning, but it does shut off at 6. So.
Oh, that's right.
We'll see. We'll see how hot it gets in here, and if we need to like go and turn it back on. But yeah, so I brought some cool stuff here, so we're just gonna like show this off really quick. We have a bunch of basing and everything, glue, tweezers, scissors, all sorts of things. I also have some oil wash that I made before stream. So I have this like field gray. That's weird. That's called field gray. It's totally green. Oil wash that I made off stream, and that was just me taking some oil paint and mixing it with some odorless thinner. Let's go here. So yeah, it was just a little bit of this with some this, and then I mixed it up. And now it is in a glass container because I finally like bit the bullet and bought some glass containers, because I will always mix it in like these little plastic cups, but they melt after a while, so I can't reuse them. So I didn't know how much of this I'd be using this stream. I wanted to try it out because last stream I did do some contrast paint with a mix of the Thondian camo shade and Biltan green. I don't know if you guys could tell where it was on here, and I can see like little bits and pieces of it on here, but it just didn't really show up in the way that I wanted it to. So yeah, and then I have some contrast iron jaws yellow, and I'm probably going to mix it with some Seraphim sepia. And yeah, hopefully I'll be able to like yellow out these teeth a little bit more. I want it to look almost like I could potentially put this in a swamp like table and have it be, you know, good. Because I do want to get more uses out of it than just having it be on like a cute spring board.
Yeah.
So yeah. Now we do have a super chat immediately.
Yeah.
Let's get to that. Thank you, Kitsune Legion. Hey Titans, planning my new Tau army themed after different mecha from anime, and I want my commander to be Eva. Do you know any commission people who would accept just a conversion commission? No. We gave this some thought.
Yes.
I know very few people who openly do commissions. I know a lot of people who will do a commission if you ask them, but they don't like advertise that like that's what they do. I believe Michael Cody in chat does commissions. I'm sorry if I'm getting that wrong, but I don't know if it would be something where you'd have to ask the person whether or not they'd be able to take on another project or whatever. But most commission artists I know would 100% do just a one-off, like this is the only thing. Depending on how special you want it to be, obviously the price goes further than that. And then material and everything like that. Yeah. Like there's a lot more collaboration when it comes to commissions, especially like conversion commissions, where it's like, I have this idea. No, not Michael Cody. There's someone else in chat. I'm so sorry.
Broken Chef?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I think so. Yeah. Great.
That's what Michael Cody says.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I think it was someone does it.
Someone in chat I know is 100% like just doing commissions. But the other like commission people I know, there's Israel, Izzy. I know that we've talked about him on stream before. I know that the Titans have an army painted by him in the studio as well too.
I think it's the Necrons.
Yeah. He's big on TAIL, and TAIL is like his thing. But he is expensive. He's a really good painter. But he is expensive. So it just kind of depends on like how much you want to pay, and would you be like fully entrusting this person to make all the decisions when it comes to the conversion? How much control do you want over it? And yeah, and I know Sarasco is also a commission painter as well too.
Oh yeah, so, he is.
Yeah. As far as like the community goes, there's a couple different people that you can choose from, but if this is like special to you and you're like, no, I want this person, maybe just ask,
poke around in the Discord.
Yeah, definitely. That's always an option.
Yeah.
But as far as like personal friends, the only person that I can think of is Izzy.
Yeah.
I didn't know he'd be willing to do a commission, but I think in order for him to do like a one-off thing, it would have to be something that he connects with. And then how much control are you willing to give up is really it. Yeah, so
yeah,
I hope that answers your question.
Yeah.
That's a really cool concept, though. Evangelion's super awesome. I don't even know if I want to admit that I attempted watching an anime that seemed like a really sad take on Evangelion. But
what was it called? If you want to say.
Okay, I only watched like 5 episodes, but it was Darling in the Franxx.
Oh!
And I gave up. It was just because I bought this mouse pad because it was like buy 2 get 1 free, and I was buying something for people anyway, and so that was like my free one, and it was the main girl, and it was done by like a different artist. It was super cute, and I'm like, oh, this is awesome. There's like a mech in the background. So I'm like, oh, I should watch this, and then I stopped watching it.
How far did you get in?
Oh, I don't know, like 5 episodes, maybe 8 episodes after their first big fight, and then I was just like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah,
I'm laughing too much.
I know they're by the same company, so yeah, they're both Dynamax.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I tried.
Yeah, I haven't watched it, but I've heard a lot of stuff about it.
Yeah, and it's not like sad as in like, oh, I'm gonna cry. No, it was like it just felt like a sad copy, not emotional. but just sad.
Yeah.
In execution, I guess I should say. Yeah, so
Really
I don't
sad Evangelion. How does that work?
Evangelion
Evangelion's
is
already
sad.
Yeah, pretty sad.
But Darling in the Franxx was just something else. It was something else. But yeah, I don't know. And also, it was a big thing of like I didn't like the mechs in Darling in the Franxx either.
Okay.
So that I think really, if I liked the mechs, I probably would have stuck with it.
Yeah.
Despite everything else. I just didn't like how they gave them faces. Like,
yeah, that's kind of weird.
That was like the thing that really threw me off. So.
Have you ever watched Gurren Lagann?
Maybe like a long time ago.
Okay. Yeah, because they have, I don't know, would you call them mechs? I don't know. They have like these mech-like things, but they're really weird looking.
Yeah.
Which I enjoyed just for like that different take on it, but yeah.
Yeah, I definitely wasn't looking for like an Evangelion dupe or like a Gundam dupe or whatever. It was just another mech show that I thought I would like.
Well, with that,
yeah.
what's everyone's favorite mech anime?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh. Getting with the hard.
I know, right? I don't know if I have an answer to that.
Yeah. And if it's Darling in the Franxx, I'm gonna come right out and say it. I'm gonna judge you as hard as I judge stamp collectors.
Yes.
I still use the mouse pad too, and every once in a while, like someone will be like, "Oh, I really like your 02 mouse pad." I'm like, thank you. Thank you. I'm such a big fan. I don't know. It was by my favorite digital artist, and it was something that I had never seen before. And all of my work stuff is pink, and so the mouse pad is pink, and so it like fit with everything. I don't know. But it's okay. I'll still use it. But yeah. What is your favorite?
Mine?
Yeah, mech anime.
That's hard. Like, cause if I'm judging solely on the mechs, I might say something like Evangelion.
Right.
Because when I think of mechs, I think of Gundam.
Right.
And while there's a few Gundam shows that I like, I don't like
all of them.
Yeah, I don't like the look of Gundams.
Why?
They're basic.
They're too bulky, right?
They're bulky, and it's like when you think of mechs, you think of Gundams. Like, so they're like that baseline. So I like something a little different, something like Evangelion. Yeah, it's fun. I'm trying to think. There was a lot of mech animes that I watched, like in the early 2000s.
Ooh, like the Big O.
Oh my gosh, Big O! Yes.
Yeah, I think that was my first.
Yeah.
My first one, because it was just on Toonami.
Yeah.
And it was right after Inuyasha, I think. And so, like, I was just like, okay, I'm just not gonna turn the TV on.
Yeah.
So, that was my like introduction to mech stuff, and I kind of was sad that I missed out on Gundam when it was still like. When I was just getting into anime, because now at this point it's hard for me to go back and watch it.
Yeah.
Watch like the older stuff. Like I can watch Gundam Origins. I can watch. It's Gundam, but it's not Gundam. Iron-Blooded Orphans.
Okay. Yeah.
But like because it has the newer like art to it. But the older stuff, like it just. I don't know, I can't. And the older voice acting and stuff too.
Oh yeah.
It was a little hard.
I watched Gundam 08th MS Team recently, or rewatched it. Okay. And it's just like, it took me a few episodes just to get over how dated the style was.
Oh, yeah.
Like their hairstyles were very like early 90s, 80s. And I was just like, okay, I remember loving this. I gotta get past the age. I gotta get past. Yeah.
I think that's the case with like whenever I go back and watch like older anything, older TV shows, older movies. There was a point where I tried watching The Vampire Diaries because I never watched it when it came out, and I couldn't get past the first 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Just based off of like what they were wearing, and that was it.
Yeah.
So you know,
kind of takes you out of the immersion.
a little bit, because it was like, oh, when it was coming out, like they were cool and like the peak of fashion, and I don't know, but it is fun to like compare older like shows, movies, anime stuff, like what holds up versus like what doesn't. Like I'm sure if I went back and rewatched Yu Yu Hakusho, I couldn't.
Yeah.
But I have such fond memories of it, so I'm just gonna keep it that way.
Yeah, probably a good plan.
Thank you, Liberty Fires. Lindsay, Cat, I hope you are doing well, and hopefully at a future convention I'll get a chance to meet you. I hope so. Are you planning on going to any conventions?
Not at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think the next one that I'm going to go to is the Las Vegas Open, which is coming up in January, which seems really far away, but isn't at the same time.
It's coming up fast. we're zooming through September, and I'm not ready for it.
Yeah. It's also like it feels weird because it's like literally 100 degrees outside right now, and it's September.
Yeah.
And then after that is Adepticon, which is March. So,
Oh wow.
Yeah. No more conventions for me for the rest of the year, which is great because there was a point where I was traveling a lot, and it's fun, and then it starts to wear on you a little bit.
Yeah.
The novelty of it starts to go away. It stops being like a treat and starts feeling like work.
Yeah.
But yeah. Now, would you go to a tabletop convention?
Yeah, definitely. I love conventions. I love, I've gone to them as an attendee many times before, and I've gone as like working. And I enjoy them both ways because one of the reasons why I really love working at Game Castle and working with all the community is just being around so much excitement.
Yeah.
And everyone's like passion is just like
like-minded individuals.
Yeah.
It's all related somehow.
Yeah. And just like I feed off of people's excitement.
Yep.
So yeah, I love conventions. They're a lot. They're it's at the end of the week or weekend you're exhausted, but it's always a good memory.
Yeah, there was a point where back in July, I guess, yeah, like early July, late June, I did a store grand opening, and then literally the week after, I went to RTX, which is in Austin, and it was a convention that, because I was such a big like Red versus Blue fan when I was a kid, it's something that I've been like dying to go to, but an opportunity landed in my hands to be able to go with the Austin Game Castle store.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I was like, yeah, I will 100% volunteer my services.
Yeah, definitely.
If you can get me a ticket in, that'd be great. And it just was a lot. It was so hot and like humid, and I don't deal well with heat. And it was fun though. It was fun. I don't regret it. I'll probably go again next year, but I won't have like hopefully I won't have another like store grand opening like literally the weekend before it. So I think that really wore me out.
Yeah. That whole time, that whole like beginning of summer, end of spring was like really, really busy.
Yeah. And then there's also KublaCon.
Yeah.
Right before that.
Yeah, it was.
So I was tired.
Yeah.
So I am glad to not be traveling for a little bit. But yeah, Liberty Fires, if you're gonna go to LVO, Adepticon, KublaCon, maybe we'll see you there. Now, who went to Nova? 'Cause I know all the rest of the Titans did.
Yeah.
But who in chat went to Nova? I want to know. Because I know that there's a bunch of pictures rolling through in the Discord of the community and stuff who went. But yeah. I know there was also, it was unfortunate because I really wanted to meet people at Adepticon, but like nothing lined up with anything, and no other Titans went to Adepticon. So like it wasn't like I was gonna organize like a meetup or whatever. But maybe they'll come next year. Maybe I'll convince them to come.
Yeah. Why didn't they go to Adepticon this year?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I asked, but it just didn't really seem like to be on anyone's radar. And it was like a couple months after LVO. Maybe they were just doing some other stuff.
I think they're probably super busy.
Now, would you want to go to play, or would you want to go to, like, because I do, like, painting classes when I go to Adepticon. What would you rather do?
I would do the classes.
Okay.
I am not a competitive person at all. So, like, the playing in the games would just freak me out and, like, totally sap any joy. Because, like, I'd be so worried about, doing well, or, I don't know. It also depends on the situation. Like, if I'm going with a bunch of friends, then maybe it would be fun to just play for fun.
Like in a narrative or something?
Yeah. Something where I don't have to think about, what my strategy, or, I'm just going to have a goofy time.
Now, would you take a hobby class?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
What class would you be most interested in? Like, what would you want to learn?
I'd probably start off with, like, basing.
Oh, okay.
Something like that.
So like a class from Seth?
Yes. Yes. And then I would I heard Meg took a class on painting faces at KublaCon. Now that sounds awesome. Like, I would love that.
Yeah, and I want to ask her, because I know that she signed up for classes at Nova well too. So hopefully when I see her next, like, I'll be able to ask her how those went, because I know that she also signed up for classes from an instructor who will also be at the LVO. So yeah, young Will Hahn 2.0. And I have to say that because I know another Will Hahn who's also a hobby painter.
Oh no.
So it's not even like they run in different circles there.
Yeah.
So that would be interesting.
Yeah. So what you usually take classes, or do you teach classes?
I do not.
Okay.
I do not, yeah. I do not teach classes. And this Adepticon was my first time taking, like, official hobby classes and not just, like, bombarding people with questions. But I took OSL with Benjamin Cantor, and I took Matt DiPietro's patterns class.
Oh, okay.
Like freehanding and patterns class.
Oh, okay.
And then also Benjamin Cantor's color theory class, which was just a lecture.
Oh.
But it was interesting because he's a college professor who teaches like film editing and like coloration and stuff. And so that was like super interesting to me to like get someone's like professional opinion and not just like, I don't know.
So what would you say was the most important thing that you learned from that class? Like one point that,
Oh, the color theory class?
Yeah, the color theory class.
That I probably didn't need to take it.
Oh no.
Not saying that like I didn't learn anything. It was just it was a thing of like learning something that I already knew, but from someone else's perspective.
Okay.
And using their vocabulary and using like how they thought of things, that was the most thing. But like I was a traditional painter before, and so I painted like canvases and everything like that, and so I knew color theory in a general sense, but like it was interesting to see someone else's and hear someone else's point of view, and like he's very opinionated.
Okay.
So that was cool, and it wasn't just like I'm going to read you a textbook definition. It was, I'm going to tell you how I feel about it and what I think about it, which, yeah, when you go to classes and you're like, oh, I like this person on Instagram, and like they're teaching a class and I want to know what they do and how they think and their perspective, and that's my main takeaway from, I guess, the classes that I was taking.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's also like a big sign of like, okay, I should stop babying myself and sign up for something a little bit more difficult. Something that I feel like would challenge me.
Yeah. Okay.
But it was cool. Because my main hobby teacher has been one person. And so I like getting different people's perspectives. I think that's how you grow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like there's they're talking about the classes at LVO in the chat.
Ooh,
So
awesome,
like Brett Lee's gonna be doing one. It looks like.
I hope so. That'd be cool. 'Cause I know you're gonna do like a little tournament. But yeah, we so at the LVO we have really long classes. So we have the master classes, which take up the entire weekend. And you get it's 12 people each class. You get one instructor, and it's all 12 people, that same instructor, that whole entire weekend.
Oh,
wow. You get all your paints, you get your brushes, you get a wet palette, you get your figure. That's all baked into the cost of the class. You get continental breakfast and lunch, and that's all baked into the price of the class. And I know it's not like super obvious on the Shopify website, but if you go to the hobby packet that I spent so long putting together, it tells all the information, which is why they're so expensive. But they're definitely well worth it. And then we have long format classes, which take course over like a couple days. I know Miniac and Ninjon are doing one duo.
Cool.
Eric Swinson is doing one. Will Hahn 2.0 is doing one, but his is broken up into like, here's a 2-hour one, here's a 6-hour one, here's a 4-hour one. Which is great because if you have other stuff that you want to do, like you're not just stuck in like one room the whole time. And then we have shorter classes, like 4 to 2 hour long classes. And so if you have time in between other stuff that you want to do, or if you just want to take like a bunch of different classes by a bunch of different people, that's always an option as well too. So, yeah, unfortunately, Ben Comment's masterclass is sold out, but there are still a ton of other classes that you can sign up for. This is me pitching it because it's my program. So
yeah.
But yeah, and I know Seth is in chat as well too. He's also head organizer as well, so you can ask him a bunch of questions about it. But yeah. It's a ton of fun. It's a ton of fun. You get to meet all these people, ask them a bunch of questions, and then of course we'll have the open like painting area as well too. You do need a hobby pass in order to access the open painting area, but it gives you access to all of like the in-con competitions and stuff. So there's a basing competition where you get like a little base, like a 50 millimeter base or whatever it's going to be. You get a smattering of basing material, and then you make your base like at the con. So like in between classes or in between rounds in a tournament, depending on how fast you play. and then you get a trophy. And then there's the in-con painting competition too. So you check out your mini at the beginning of the day, you paint it, then you turn it back in at the end of the night, and then you do that for the rest of the weekend.
Cool.
Yeah, and then there's the Las Vegas Open Painting Championships, which is like the big grand prize thing. But that's always super fun. I know Steve Garcia won first place last year, and he is doing a master class this year. So definitely check that out. He was the guy who won gold in the dual category for the Golden Demon. So, yeah.
Nice.
Some good stuff. Some awesome people too. I like them a lot. They're good people, as one would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for like these classes, do you usually need to bring your own supplies, or do they usually supply there?
So yes and no. So the master classes you don't.
Okay.
Because that is baked into the cost of everything. You get a extra large red gas games wet palette. So like the orange one that you were using, but it's the bigger blue one. And then you get Artist Opus brushes that are like the box is customized for the convention and everything like that. So you get all the paints and everything. You get to keep everything that you use in the class, and so that's why they're so expensive.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it depends on what convention you go to. I know that we are in talks with Monument Hobbies to get them to sponsor the smaller classes, so that there are paints in all of the classrooms. So you can bring your own, and a lot of times it's encouraged for you to bring your own tools because you know how to use them, and they're yours. You know, then you can take them home. But you can also just bring some brushes and a wet palette and be good to go for the most part. So yeah, from my experience and from what I've heard from like other people who've taken hobby classes and paint classes and have taught them, is that people are just super. It's like working in the store. Just everyone is just super excited about everything and like willing to share their information. No, you didn't miss fan stuff, Broken Chef. We'll say that towards the end. But yeah, so no worries. Awesome. Now I just need to wait for this to dry a little bit. Maybe.
So what did you just put on? You just put on the
little oil wash.
Oh, okay, yeah.
With the oil paint and thinner. So it should, because it's so thin, it should dry fairly quickly.
Yeah.
And then I'll go in with some other stuff. I actually might, I don't know. I might put like some rust deposit stuff on it. And I know there's no metal anywhere, but I like the color.
Yeah, I really like the color of rust.
So
it's
yeah.
I like just dropping it on anything.
Yeah, so as far as supplies go, it just depends on the class. But for the most part, like when you sign up for a hobby class, they'll tell you if you need to bring stuff, or if the instructor will supply you with whatever you need. But you can always bring your own. That's not like you need to check your supplies at the door kind of thing. And that's what I've heard from everybody, is just like, even if you bring your own stuff, if it's like a specialty class, like I know when Seth teaches basing classes and stuff, like he will supply you with things that you need, but usually that price is then baked into the cost of the class. So basing classes, depending on what they are, usually cost a little bit more, just because the instructor brings all of the stuff that you need, and you don't need to worry about like finding sticks outside. So yeah, I think I'm gonna put a little bit, but I'm gonna thin it out a lot. So let's see. Now, I've never worked with enamels or oils on stream before, and my number one concern is how long they take to dry. So let's see how far I can get without overworking things a bit too much. So, chat, you'll go on a journey with me, and then lessons will be learned.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, and it's usually also like you get to keep what you make as well
Okay.
too.
Oh, that's
So,
good.
Yeah.
Neat.
That was super awesome. And then at least with the classes that I took at Adepticon, they also do like these fun raffles like in the class from their sponsors who sponsor the hobby program and stuff. And
Nice.
so the teachers will pass out raffle tickets and stuff and raffle off like cute little things. Like I got a hobby holder. You know the hobby holder that we got in the Conquest organized play kits, the paint night stuff,
Yeah.
the Red Grass Games one. I got one for free from a raffle in one of the classes that I took at Adepticon. So yeah, it's also cool because like the more you get into this world and the more enmeshed you get, the more you learn of like, oh, Adepticon is like known as the hobby con as well too. Like a lot of European artists will come over and stuff, and that's like a big deal because normally you'd have to pay to like go to them.
Yeah.
So
Oh, that's super neat.
yeah.
Yeah, for the longest time, all these conventions just kind of like blended into it's. Yeah, I knew of them, but because I've never been to one, they all just kind of seemed the same.
Yeah.
You know, it's like Comic Cons, and they're all Comic Con, just in a different area. But it's cool to see that there's different, you know, like Adepticon is the hobby con, you know. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because for the longest time it was the home of the Crystal Brush, which, as far as I know, was the like premier U.S. painting competition when the Golden Demon went away.
Okay.
But now it's no longer the home of the Crystal Brush because that was owned by Cool Mini or Not. But now it's the home of the Golden Demon. So it's cool that they didn't like lose anything too much. It's just changed. But one thing that I don't know. The one thing about the Golden Demon is they have open categories and stuff. But the only way you can win a demon is if you do like a Games Workshop thing, which kind of limits it a little bit. But yeah, thankfully the Las Vegas Open Painting Comp is open. It's not manufacturer specific, so you can do whatever you want. For the most part. Would you ever do a painting comp?
Probably after I've taken a few classes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. After a few classes, I'd probably enter like a small one. But kind of like playing in competitive games, it's like, I'm here to have fun.
Yeah, and I think that's like a thing that I've talked a lot about on stream and with Zach and stuff, and like maybe that's what pushed him to do the KubaCon painting comp. Is for me, it's not about winning. It's about the feedback that I get afterwards.
Okay, yeah.
And a lot of it is like, okay, I pushed myself on this piece, but someone else is going to look at it, not know exactly like where I started and like who I am or whatever, or even what I'm capable of, but like how can I take this piece and go further with it?
Yeah.
And I like that. So it's not the competition part that drives me. I mean, it's cool when you win something. But it's like I'm going to throw everything I have into this piece. Tell me how I can give more next time.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's my appeal. And I know it's not the same for everybody, but I try to keep things like it's my journey.
Yeah.
Right? My journey is what I care about.
Yeah. I think it's a good way to approach it. You know, you're just looking to grow from it.
Yeah. Like I know kind of where I want to be and what I want to do. But I also know I if I just sit in my bubble, I'm not going to grow.
Yeah.
So, Yeah. There's good and bad coming from a little hobby bubble. It's great, but it's also like you need to get other perspective.
Yeah.
I am liking this rust a lot.
Yeah.
I like this rust a lot. Got a thing from Amsterdam. Thank you. Happy Wednesday. Looking for a cheaper option than contrast medium to thin contrast paints. What do you recommend? Also, do you have any subs for GW washes? I have a ton. A ton. A ton. So I just thin my contrast paints with water, but I also use contrast paints not in the way that they recommend. If you want to use contrast paints in the way that they are like designed to be used, I would actually check out the Transparator from MIG. It is a acrylic medium, but it's different than acrylic thinner. It doesn't have any alcohol in it, which I think is like the big thing. So it doesn't break your paint apart, which I think is what makes it such a good thinner to begin with. It makes your paints, if you just add it to like a normal acrylic paint, more transparent without breaking the surface tension. So if you find that like when you mix it with water, it does like this.
Yeah.
Let's go here. It starts to beat apart. And it'll do that on your mini if you thin it with too much water. But if you do it with Transparator, it just spreads it and makes it more thin.
Ooh.
And so it helps it keep its body and its structure, which is really what contrast paints are all about, is that you can spread them super thin without it breaking apart. Let's go here. Yeah. So that's why I like the Transparator. You can get like a huge bottle of it for like $8, I believe. Don't quote me on the price, I'm so sorry. You can get a huge bottle of it, and they also come in the normal formula, and then also they made a matte formula as well too. Because if you add too much Transparator to like a matte paint, it turns it a little bit satin. But the matte Transparator keeps it not super matte, but it keeps it from turning like as satin as possible. So yeah, I like that one. Now as far as GW washes go, I, for the most part, unless I'm feeling really like lazy, will mix my own with Transparator. So I think this is just me like gushing about how great the Transparator is. It has like on the bottle some sort of like Terminator looking thing.
It's like blue with like a Terminator dude.
Like an eyeball thing. Yeah. And then the matte one is red, I believe.
Yeah,
I think
so.
with the same food. I'm not entirely sure. But it's by MIG. So yeah. And then you can just mix your own washes. And then honestly, I just bought these, but get like little jars and stuff and just mix a bunch of them up. They don't have to be glass jars unless you're mixing like oil washes. You can get like empty bottles of these from AK. These are the bottles that they put their enamel washes in. And the plastic that they're made out of is specifically designed to not melt with enamel. But I also just like that I can like easily rewash this and be super harsh on it without worrying about scratching the plastic or anything. So, there's a ton. Just get Transparator though. Is really my main thing. And you can mix your own washes, and that's not an issue. But I know it's probably not the best advice. What other washes do I use? I use a lot of enamel washes, so by AK, but a lot of people are intimidated by them a little bit. They're super easy to use though. The only thing is that you do need to varnish in between using them and stuff, because if you're too rough with them, they'll eat through your acrylic paint. But I didn't varnish mostly just because I couldn't find a varnish. And I have yet to rub anything off, so I think we're fine. But yeah, you don't need the you don't need contrast medium in order to thin contrast paints if you are going to use them as a wash or in any other capacity. If you are going to use them in the way that they're sort of designed to be used, then I would get an acrylic thinner that specifically does not have any alcohol in it. That's the biggest thing. Yeah, you don't want it to like break your paint apart. You just kind of want it to be more transparent, which is the Transparator.
Okay.
Yeah. What about you?
So I've mostly used just Citadel washes.
Okay.
And I've tried other brands, but I feel I always end up with the Citadel washes. But
They're very easy.
Yeah, they're very easy.
Yeah.
But now that I know about the Transparator, it's like I've always seen it in the store, and I've always like, I wonder what that does. But now that I know,
Yeah.
that might be the way to go. Because like when I paint, I just kind of, I don't really care what kind of paint it is. As long as it, it
does what you want it to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if I could like turn my lizard green into a wash with the Transparator, like that sounds like my jam. So yeah.
Yeah, the Transparator I feel like it's great, like with any acrylic medium and stuff, or acrylic thinner, or glaze medium as well too. It just, yeah, it makes your hobby tools that you've been using so much more versatile.
Yeah.
But yeah, the only reason why I'm not recommending like acrylic medium is that a lot of times they have alcohol in them, but specifically the Transparator doesn't. And that's the only thing that I'm like going to really harp on, is if you're going to use a chemical of any kind, just make sure it doesn't have alcohol in it, because that will destroy your acrylic paints, but it will break the surface of your contrast paint, which is what you don't want it to do. And it's also what you don't want it to do with like any glaze as well too. But the biggest thing about the Transparator is it comes in a huge bottle. And yeah, I've bought like, I don't know, I think at this point probably like 6 bottles of it. It's just so good.
Yeah.
It's so good. I never want to run out of it. And there was a while where the stores were all sold out, and I was very sad. And then we got bottles in, and I immediately bought 4. I'm Zach. I'm Zach when it comes to Transparator, except with Zach, he'll do it with like titanium white ink or Nuln oil or Agrex or Shade or really anything that like Zach is like really fixated on at that point. But that's me with Transparator.
Nice.
And I did introduce Zach to Transparator as well too, and he loves it.
Yes.
So, yeah, it's great. Now you know.
Transparator. Now, the moment I see it in the store, I gotta grab it before anyone else does.
How many of the bottles of Transparator are open? 1, because I use them, and then I will buy more. Yeah. Maybe two, because I do have the blue one and the red one. And I will swap between them. So maybe 2 are open. But
they're different kinds.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Which one do I like more? They're the same. It's whatever's available to me, really. Because at the end of the day, if it turns out satin and I don't want it to be satin, I'll just varnish over it.
Yeah.
And that's fine. It's not that big of a deal to me.
So
yeah.
Sorry to change the subject, but I just remembered one of my favorite mecha shows.
Oh.
That's Zoids. Yeah.
Okay.
Did you ever watch Zoids?
No.
Zoids was animal mechas. So there was the what was it? Was it Liger? I think it was Liger.
Is it like a Power Rangers thing?
Kinda, yeah.
Okay, so no, I guess Power Rangers was my first mecha show.
Yeah, they would be a mecha show.
That's so weird.
Right? But yeah, Zoids.
What was it about?
It was similar to Power Rangers, actually.
Okay.
So, Zoids are these big mechs that, were in the world, and this kid gets a hold of one. He gets a hold of his Liger Zero. Yeah, thank you, Liberty Fires. Yeah. He gets a hold of Liger.
Yeah.
And then joins a band, typical show story, but with animal mechs.
Ooh, Liberty Fires, thank you, actually.
Yeah.
Top 3 mech animes, go.
Well, Zoids.
Power Rangers isn't an anime. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Gundam Origins, specifically.
Ooh.
Evangelion, and then the big O for me.
Yeah.
What about you?
Okay, Zoids. I'm gonna say Gundam 08 MS Team.
Okay.
Mostly because it holds a lot of nostalgia for me.
Right.
And I rewatched it recently. I was like, okay, this is okay. But
I can still like
I
this.
still like
Yeah.
it because it holds a special place in my heart. Little Lindsay was, up in the middle of the night watching that, just like, this is great. And then I would say Evangelion, but that's because we've been watching a lot of it recently.
Oh, okay.
So we're going through the movies right now.
Ooh, okay.
And it's a trip. It's
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. It's been a journey.
Yeah. I think a big part of Evangelion for me is like the music still gets stuck in my head. And so then I think about it way more than I would think about like other animes, I guess. Yeah. I think a big thing is like the music.
Okay.
Which I heard is a big thing with Gundam Thunderbolt, I believe.
Oh.
But I haven't sat down and watched it
Okay.
lately, so yeah. But I like Origins a lot. And it was also like I did watch it dubbed, which is sad, but it was the only thing that I could find. But a lot of the voice actors in it are like top tier voice actors. Like
Okay.
I immediately recognized Liam O'Brien, and there was a bunch of other people that I was like, oh, let me look at their IMDb page, and I was like, oh, okay, this is fine.
Yeah.
And it was good. It wasn't grating, so
Yeah.
I didn't mind it dubbed. So I think that makes it even better in my books. If I can stand it
Oh yeah.
dubbed, then it's good.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's like double points at that point. So
There's definitely some animes that I watched, in the early 2000s that I watched dubbed because that was all I could get my hands on.
Yeah.
And now I try to watch it and it's like, oh, this is terrible.
Right.
But I love it.
Right,
Like, I loved
this is what
it.
I'm used to. Yeah, because I watched all the Studio Ghibli films dubbed
Yeah.
first, and then I went back and watched them not dubbed, and there are ones that I prefer dubbed.
Oh yeah? Like which ones?
Like my favorite movie of all time is Princess Mononoke,
Okay.
and I've gotten more used to it not dubbed, but when I first watched it, like original Japanese voice actors and stuff, it was hard. It was a hard watch.
Yeah.
But that one I actually kind of prefer dubbed.
Okay.
So, Yeah, I don't know if that's controversial, but
I don't know. I've never seen Mononoke dubbed. Or no, sorry, subbed. Sorry, or you know,
Subbed.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I've never seen it in Japanese.
Yeah.
I think I've seen Kiki's Delivery Service in Japanese, and I've seen Spirited Away. But
yeah, they did really like a lot of the Studio Ghibli stuff. They did really well with the voice acting and stuff. And I watched several documentaries on like how they did it and stuff. And I knew that they took it very seriously. And so, yeah. Yeah. Well, going back to conventions and like people being super excited about stuff, I think people are super excited to hear about your run-in with a brony meetup.
Oh, yeah!
Let's get to that.
Okay.
Let's get to the
I
exciting.
know. The exciting, what everyone has been waiting for.
With bated breath.
Bated breath. Yeah. So pretty much, it's not that exciting.
Oh, okay.
but it's still fun, you know. I as a little backstory, I do like My Little Pony, but I never watched My Little Pony as a kid. Like I didn't watch the I didn't collect the ponies. I didn't, you know, I was not into it. I was too busy doing other things like watching Sailor Moon or something.
Yeah.
But when Friendship is Magic came out, what was that? 12, 15 years ago, something like that, almost. I had a friend who watched the first few episodes and was like, "This is really good, Lindsay. You should watch it with me." And so like we would watch it together.
Okay.
And we enjoyed it, you know, because we like cartoons.
Right.
You know. Mm-hmm. And then so when I got my first job, worked at a Target. Like in the, you know, for seasonal, you know, they hired me on for, you know, the holiday. And I was put in the toy section.
Ooh, okay.
Which was really fun.
Yeah.
Except, you know, when it was really slow, I was just going up and down the aisles just like, Yeah. It got,
mundane.
Very mundane. But somehow I ended up talking about My Little Pony to one of my coworkers, and they were like, "Oh, you should meet this one guy who's in the technology section right across the way. He loves My Little Pony." I was like, "Okay, cool. You know, someone to talk about My Little Pony with." And so, you know, they introduced us and we started talking about My Little Pony, and he's like, "You should really come to our My Little Pony meetup in like 2 weeks. We're doing it right in the same like shopping center." And I was like, "Yeah, sure. Hanging out with people that, you know, are into My Little Pony. Yeah, definitely." Yeah. And so that's what I did.
Was it everything you thought it was going to be? Did anyone dress up?
So it was actually really interesting and like really like involved. So it was mostly everyone kind of came in with their own stuff. There wasn't a lot of like organization to it. Like it was just like an impromptu. Well, you know, or you know, they planned to meet there, but there was no like. They didn't
activities.
There was no like activities. Like they didn't let the shopping center know. Mm-hmm. They were just like, "We're all gonna meet at this place at this time."
I see.
And but everyone brought some really cool things. Like someone brought a big banner, and so you know they set up a big banner. Someone brought their keyboard and like was playing their like original My Little Pony inspired music.
Wow.
Yeah, and they were like doing it the whole time, and they were like really well known. Someone brought like like collectibles and stuff, and like people were trading these collectibles, and like, you know, they're like, "Here, I want, you know, I'll give you this," you know, all that. But yeah, it was pretty cool, and like everyone was like super nice, and like very excited, and like it's exactly what, you know, what I really like about conventions and about about the stores is that everyone's just really excited and passionate about something. So yeah, it was really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And it was also it's also fun hearing the stories, like why they like My Little Pony.
Okay.
Like what originally got them into it. I always find interesting. And so like whenever anyone says like whenever an adult says I really like My Little Pony, I always like to ask, like why? Like what brought you into it? And it's always an interesting story. Like, it brought me and my friends together, or like it introduced me to this group of people, or like it helped me through a hard time, just something to keep their mind off of, whatever they were going through. But yeah.
Now, I guess in your opinion, why do you feel like it was just such a big thing?
I think the show just kind of hit certain things really well. So something about My Friendship is Magic. Something about Friendship is Magic is it really, after a few seasons, they knew who their main audience was,
right?
And it were these adults, these adult people, and so they started tailoring their content towards that.
Oh, okay.
And so the fans who may have dropped off after that were held in because they were their questions were answered. They knew they were being seen.
Right.
It also, the show wasn't like child cringe either.
Right.
I think it was just really well made and something that could hold people's attention, or hold adults' attention,
right,
as well as kids. So
right.
I think that's kind of what happened. And
kinda
then
like an Avatar the Airbender thing,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
I mean, that's a kids show, but it's not like a children's show.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
I think really mainly the thing is like people are just kind of like, but it's a bunch of ponies, and it's like, make them something else, and then would it still be a good show? And if the answer is yes, then it's a good show, right?
And I think they could have done that with Friendship is Magic. They could have, if that formula was in a different show, maybe I think it really helped that My Little Pony is such an established IP.
Right.
So I think that helped
with
as
toys.
well.
Yeah.
And so it was easier to get merchandise, or easier to get more information from it. So I think that also helped. But like you could do that with anything else that's just as established, and I think, they were able to do well.
How many people were there?
Oh, it was a bunch. Like I would say at least 20.
Ooh.
Yeah. And
for
this was
for like a little mall meetup too.
Yeah. And this was like, in between a Starbucks and a Jamba Juice, there was like a little fountain outside, some chairs and stuff. Yeah.
Now, what was the perception of like the non-fans around you? Did anyone like harass you guys or anything like that?
No.
Wow.
No, yeah. It was on a Saturday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it was, people pretty much left us alone. Of course, there might have been some stares.
Right.
Grown men talking about, playing music about My Little Pony is kind of strange.
I kind of want to hear this music now. Were they singing too?
I don't think they were singing.
Oh, okay.
He was just playing on the keyboard. But they were also, they were also talking about the conventions that they were going to go to. Like there was like one in a month that they were all going to go to. Yeah. But that is
interesting.
Yeah, it was
like with the whole thing with like My Little Pony and like the brony fandom and stuff is just like the phenomenon that like exploded.
Yeah.
And I think to me that's the most interesting part, because like I can't really think of anything, like any one IP that had just such dedication to it.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite things to, ask people. Ask a brony, like, what got you into it?
Right.
Like, why are you here? And so I was asking people that while I was there, and yeah, the answers were really nice, really cool.
Wholesome.
Very wholesome.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh yeah. I I never went to another one, and I didn't really plan to go to another one. But like in the moment while I was there, when they were talking about like the conventions that they were going to go to, they were like, Lindsay, are you going to go? Do you want to go to the convention? And I was like, you guys are way more excited about this than I am. I'm gonna pass. But you guys have fun. Like this is great. Do your thing.
Yeah. No, that's so nice.
Yeah.
That's so nice. Yeah, because like there's this person on YouTube that like just tells like super in-depth stories and stuff, and like she was very in that scene and was like would be considered like famous, and like to hear her talk about like what it was like is just so fascinating to me, just because it's just only based off of like just one show. And it was like it was established already, and it was like a thing with like kids and stuff. Like I don't recall ever having like a My Little Pony thing when I was a kid. But I know it was around, and I can remember like the jingles from like the commercials and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then that like the friendship is magic thing just like took it and exploded it, and now it's like not. It's like lingering, but it's not really.
Yeah,
there.
they had, I forget what ended it, but like I think I know what video you're talking about with the girl.
Yeah.
And I forgot what ended it, but yeah, it's, and also there's a new version of My Little Pony out that just doesn't have the same magic, the same spark, you know.
It's the same friendship.
Yeah, the same friendship. Yeah.
That's fair. Which, I think honestly that's like a big thing of like people's fascination with it is like, it is generally thought of like as a kid's show, but then if you take, I guess, the premise of it and like dub it over like what would be normal or something, like would it still be good? And if your opinion is yes, then you know. Yeah. That's really the main thing. So yeah.
That was the My Little Pony story, and I still love My Little Pony. We got My Little Ponies into the store. Yeah, this was like years ago, and I immediately picked one up.
The Whiz Kids minis.
Yeah, the Whiz Kids minis. Yeah.
Yeah, and to be fair, they're completely sold out.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, and I also heard that those miniatures themselves like are just fun to paint.
They are,
because they come with like the eyes and the cutie marks, right?
Yes, they do.
So that's
cool.
And
it's just it's a very simple figure to paint too, but like you could do so much with it. Like you can make your own cutie mark. You could do your own eyes. Yeah.
Well, it's awesome.
Very customizable.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing your story.
Yeah. Thank you for listening. How's it going over there?
So it's drying the way that I want it to, but it's also collecting in places that I don't want it to.
Ooh.
So I'm just gonna fix that really quick. Because it's messing with my horns. And I don't want it to. But it's fine. It's not that big of a deal. I can fix it. Hopefully. We'll see what this looks like when it dries. But other than that, I think I'm done with the oil washing.
Nice.
And I think I'm gonna move into like getting some tufts on it.
Yeah.
Which is really where the magic happens, I feel.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I've already got some tufts on these guys. I've already just completely beiged them out.
Yeah, and they look so cool. And like even when you put your little dryad like in with the skeletons and stuff, like from across the room I could see like the leaves.
Yes.
Which is super cute.
Yeah. I found a new green, frog green. It's wonderful.
Ooh.
It really goes with pistachio, and it's just a joy. There you go. Maybe better this way. There we go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then we have liverly green. Really, I just collect greens.
Yeah.
It's algae green. There you go. Yeah.
It's funny too, because like my oil paint is green, but it's called field gray. And then I pointed out another like greenish paint to you, but it was like laser yellow or something.
Yeah, yeah. But it's totally
same family.
Yeah, same family.
Yeah. I think it helps because pistachio is like a very yellow green.
Yeah, it does.
So,
Yeah.
But yeah. I'm gonna wait for this Nuln oil to dry. But that would have been cool if I had done like one and like left the other one alone. But,
To see the difference?
yeah. Yeah. It's fine.
Yeah.
I didn't do it, so. But yeah.
Next time.
Let's see here. Thanks again, Hamsterdam. Thanks. Transparent our next hobby purchase. Follow-up question. I saw a pack of Winsor & Newton acrylic paints for $38. Would you paint minis with them? Now, are these like artist acrylics? Like they come in like little tubes like this, right? Like, I believe so. I believe that's how Winsor & Newton. So Winsor & Newton is a great like just art supply brand overall, but they range so much in quality, where their Series 7 sable, there you go. Yeah. Their Series 7 sable brushes are great, and it's by the same brand that you can get like $2, $3 brushes from. And then their Series 7 sable brushes are like $20 all the way up to like $80. I paint with artist acrylics all the time. I actually believe that the Winsor & Newton ones come in like a huge one. There's also another brand called Golden that has artist acrylics, and they come in like huge tubes. Yeah. I'd say get it, but I wouldn't then look to it as a replacement for paints that you already know how to use. Because when it comes to artist acrylics, there is like a learning curve in order to get used to how they thin out, how they feel, how they spread out, like their opacity, what mediums you use to thin them out with. I just mainly use water. But yeah, I've never used the Winsor & Newton artist acrylics before, but I have used the Golden ones. I have used the Abtalung, which is by this brand. This is their oil paints. Their artist acrylics come in like a gray tube. And I have used Scale, I believe. Yeah, Scale artist acrylics. So they just take some getting used to. I like them a lot. But it's also harder to get started, if that makes sense. When like with a dropper top bottle, all you have to do is just shake it up, put it on your wet palette, and then get started immediately. With the artist acrylics, you do have to kind of like work them down a little bit, and then you can get started. So there's a learning curve, but if you're interested in using them, then I'm gonna say go for it. And $38 sounds like awesome. But how many paints exactly? Yeah. I mean, I would divide it up, right? If it's $2 a tube, that sounds worth it to me. Because these are like $4.
Yeah. $4.50.
Yeah, and they're already thin, so technically you get less paint. It's just ease of use, really. So, you know. Whatever you want to do, really. That's my advice, my opinion. But just be like aware that they are. There is a tiny bit of a learning curve where it's like, how much water do I want on my brush? How much, water do I put then on my wet palette to be able to thin it out and to keep it thinned out? I like them a lot when you're using them with a wet palette specifically, because they don't separate, which I find that you can kind of get with these guys. So yeah, even thinned out to the point of a glaze, they won't then separate up. 20 paints, yeah, 20 paints for $38. I think that's worth it to me. But I think you can do a lot of different things with a lot of different paints. Like I've painted minis with like those bottle acrylic paints that you can get at like a hobby store. They're just harder to work with. But if you know your tools and you know the consistency of paint that you want, and you know exactly like how you want your paints to go on, I think you can really use anything. You can use any brush, you can use any paint, you can use any wet palette. It's just, what are you used to? So, yeah. I won't say no to a bunch of paint, but also, like, I think I've bought every single paint that I will need for the next like, few years. So, I've held off on that. Now, as a digital artist,
Yes.
does your equipment matter a ton?
No.
No.
I would say, very much like what you were saying. It's it's all about what you're comfortable with and how you use it. Because I've seen some people make some really great things with just a mouse. Mm-hmm. I've seen some really great stuff from. If you ever had a DS, a Nintendo DS.
Yeah.
I've seen people make things with that.
Yeah.
Was it DS? Yeah, DS. I know I've heard of really great artists in, professional space use just like a basic tablet, which has no screen at all. It's just they have the tablet right there and they're looking at their computer screen.
Yeah.
It's really how you use it. Now, there's some items that will make things easier. Like using a mouse is very difficult. But if that is what you're comfortable with, if you know how to use it, yeah, go for it.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree. I am struggling. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Okay.
The moment I start looking for a tool to like get this cap off is when I pop it off. It's great. It got scared. No, I agree. I like. I don't need like super expensive brushes. I don't think you even need like whatever. It's also like you kind of get what you pay for, right? Like really inexpensive brushes break down a lot faster than typically expensive brushes do, but it's also like knowing the quality of your product as well too.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Is it worth it? I'd say so, but it also depends on what grade they are. It also depends on what they're for. If they're artist acrylics, there are differing things.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's also like, what's the pigmentation like and everything? Do you just need paints to get paints? And if that's the case, then it could be cool to like build out your hobby toolkit with stuff like that. But if it's also like you're trying to buy things that are like, this is definitely worth it, then maybe stray away from like fast deals and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, you got it tough
it's
down.
Immediately so much better.
Yes.
All right, that's as much as this side can zoom in, but yeah. Now I like using a bunch of different kinds. The like super dense, really long ones are a little bit harder to work with, mostly just because you can see how big they are.
They look so fuzzy. Like I've just been wanting to pet them.
Yeah, but it's harder to blend them in, and so I like to tuck them into like crevices and stuff. And it's just so nice, and they peek out so much more. Now, when it comes to basing and stuff, you can see I put that over a bunch of detail. There's a skeleton here. Will it peek through when I'm done? I have no idea. I'm not concerned about that. That's not something that I pay attention to when I'm basing. But yeah. Also, with how big these are, that's also why I have scissors here, because I will cut them in half a lot of times. Even like the green, like the smaller ones as well too. I will cut them. I think these are the same. So yeah, I will cut these. I like these little tiny ones, but not all of them can be that way. So, you know, go with what works for you.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, I almost threw all of these down into glue. I got very lucky here.
Are you super gluing them on?
I am.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you? Oh, you use.
I just used Elmer's, yeah.
Yeah. When it comes to these, because they have a bottom to them, I just super glue them on.
Okay.
They stick faster.
Okay, yeah.
And they hold better. Like if I were to like pick this up by just the tuft,
Oh my
like,
gosh.
it's fine. So that's what I like
Yeah.
when I'm building terrain. Now it's probably different when you're like basing miniatures and stuff. Elmer's glue is a lot more forgiving than super glue is, for sure. But I have Elmer's glue here because I will make my own little flowered tufts. So yeah, and I'll use Elmer's glue for that because I've used super glue to do that before. It just dries too quickly, and oftentimes it clumps together as well. So I'll get like one giant mass of pink, and then I have to go in there and like scrape it off and do it again. So I'll use Elmer's glue for that. But yeah, I just super glue my tufts on. Everything that I do is like, what happens when someone touches this?
Oh, yeah.
How will this fare? So.
Yeah. I definitely don't think about that. It's like, no one's going to touch this when I'm done.
Yeah.
So I'll go in a glass case where all the air is sucked out. But really, it just sits on my desk for 2 years.
Right. Ooh. So, now I've used, like, I guess it's the same thing with glue too. Like, it doesn't really matter. There are very few tools where I'd be like, no, you need to get this because this is just better. There are tools that are like very cheaply made to be like dupes for other things, where it's just kind of like if you pay a little bit extra, this one will last you years versus stuff. So
yeah, I always like hearing, especially for something like glue, I always like hearing what people use. It's like all the different like brands and the different like Pat C, tacky glue for the win. Yes.
Yeah, I like Elmer's glue. You can water it down. It's super awesome. I really like sand and gravel glue, but I forgot it, so we're using this. But sand and gravel glue is great for if you're like putting like dirt or sand or something loose on it, because what you can do, or like moss texture is really great for sand and gravel glue too, because it dries completely matte and completely clear. And so if you get it all over stuff, once it dries you can't see it, unlike with super glue. And then also sometimes Elmer's glue will dry a little bit shiny, or it'll have like this weird film on it. So sand and gravel glue is great, but it is an enamel-based glue. It's not hydrophobic, and so if you use stuff with like foam or like the moss texture and stuff, it'll soak down into it, and then it'll adhere it to the surface that you put it on. So yeah, because oftentimes like super glue or Elmer's glue will just stick to the top, and sometimes that's what you want it to do.
Yeah.
Oh no. This one had like a really long hair. I'm gonna cut that.
How often do you trim your tufts?
I want to say like all the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what do you trim with? Because like I've tried to trim, like I tried to trim these tufts before. Because sometimes it's a little too wily.
Yeah.
But I always had trouble. Maybe I
Yeah.
just didn't have like a sharp enough
Get
blade.
fabric shears.
Oh.
Or like
okay.
sewing thread shears.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're super small and they're really sharp.
Okay.
And that's usually what I carry around in my hobby case. But I don't have them here, so I'm just using these, and that's fine. But yeah, when you want to get into like small little crevices and stuff, because fabric shears also usually have like a pointed end to them, and so you can get them into like small little crevices.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, because I've definitely wanted to mow my Dryad's lawns at some point, and
Yeah.
was struggling with that. So thank you.
Yeah.
Tonight's stream brought to you by Ammo by Mig.
They make some cool stuff.
Yeah.
They make some cool stuff. A lot of their stuff, you can get, like, AK and Ammo make a lot of very similar things, but I have yet to find a dupe for the Transparator from Mig. So, yeah. But that, I mean, I guess that goes into, like, there are many different things out there that you can use for hobbying. Just because we recommend something doesn't mean you have to use it, or that it's the best. If you prefer something some way, then I would go with what works best for you. So, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm gonna make a mess. This, oh, it's so cute. This is like my favorite part. This is my favorite part of any project, is like building the scene around it. Yeah.
Yeah, that pink pollen is really cute.
Now, let's go into hobbying deep thoughts, questions.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Yes, we have one.
Uh-huh.
Right? What was a gratifying moment in your hobby journey? Because I feel like we've talked a lot about, like, oh, what works for you? What's best for you? Like, what do you care about in your hobby journey? But what was a gratifying moment to you? Like, something where you felt really proud of yourself for?
Yeah. I would say one of the more recent things that I've done were the trees, the awakened wildwoods. Yeah, those ones.
Yeah.
So I painted up a set of those, and I spent, like everything that I have painted, I spend months agonizing over how am I going to do this? Like, how am I going to paint this? And I was really excited to paint them. I got them one day because I was like, I just want to paint trees.
Right.
I want to paint something nature. I just want to, dump green on something, have fun.
And they're such a cool kit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I had some time. It was when we were doing the warehouse sale.
Okay.
And so I was like manning the warehouse sale, and I was just kind of sitting there.
Yeah.
As people rummaged through all the deals.
Yeah.
And so I had a lot of time to paint, and I painted these little trees.
And you're proud of them.
And I am super proud of them. And
I've seen them
I loved
at the store,
them.
and I look at them every time.
Yeah, and like it's when people ask about painting things, or they're like, oh, what have you done? It's like, one of my coworkers will be like, oh, her trees are over there, go look at her trees.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, oh yeah, go look at my trees. And I think I used pistachio on them, so
Beautiful.
but I just I had a lot of fun making them. They turned out, I had a different idea for them when I started, and they're totally different from what that original idea was.
Right.
But I was able to, when I first started, I was able to pivot it and able to correct anything that I had done previously to match the new scheme that I wanted. Yeah. it's just something that I was like really, really proud of, and you know, I get a lot of compliments on them, and just, you know, something I'm happy to show off. Whereas most of my stuff, I'm like, no, don't look at it, don't worry about it. But these trees, I'm like, look at the trees, look at them, yeah.
Yeah, no, those trees look awesome.
Oh,
I look at them every time I'm at the store. I'm like, who painted these?
Oh yeah,
Oh, Lindsay.
they're me.
Yeah, those are super cool. They're such a good kit.
It
They're
is.
such a good kit.
Yeah. I love seeing people's trees. Like while I was painting them, someone donated those trees to the store, or they donated their own.
Yeah.
And so I was like looking at them, like how they painted them. It was like, yeah, when you were painting your cherry blossom ones, I was like watching. I was like, wow, yeah. I was like looking at them, like, ooh, yeah. Look at those trees.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh gosh.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say for me. Yeah, hobby journey. Yeah. Thank you,
Yes.
Fugs. You made more sense out of the quote than I did when I was writing it out. I want to say it's gratifying, but also humbling as well too. The first competition I ever entered into was at the first LVO that I went to, and it was when it was still at Bally's, and I had painted my little like Cthulhu, like chibi Cthulhu thing, and then I went on to paint these mouselings. Now they came in like a set of two. There was a beekeeper and a druid.
Yeah.
And I wanted to paint the beekeeper and give it to my sister, just as a gift because she just loves bees. And I was really proud of it, almost like too proud. And I was feeling really good about myself. I was feeling like, man, my thing is so much better than everyone else's, because unlike you, I'm hyper competitive. Yeah, I was feeling like, oh no, this is so much better. This is better than like anything I've ever painted before. This is better than anything that I've seen anyone like come to me with. Now I'm very different from that now. It's been many years, and so I entered it, and I got a bronze in journeyman's. Now, like, it was good, but I thought I was gonna do better.
Okay.
But it was really like a humbling moment of like, no, I'm not all that, and like, you know, it was gratifying in the sense that like there were people around me who weren't afraid to tell me like, this is how you can improve. No, like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm like coming out with this right, because it's not. I think normally to most people it wouldn't be like a gratifying moment, and it was gratifying to get the bronze, and I was really proud of that. But it was also a thing of like, I guess a really monumental part of my hobby journey of like, I need to focus on myself and how I'm doing rather than like what everyone else is doing, and that then led me to get a bronze in masterclass the next year, which is great.
Yeah.
I was so happy about it. So I guess it just like culminates into that, because the bronze that I got in masterclass was the druid mouseling, and I was super proud of that. And if you go back to one of like my first Hobby Titan streams, I think the Cape episode that I did with Brett, the thumbnail for that is my little mouseling. So I'm super proud of him. I'm super, super, super proud of him. And he was a bronze, and I'm very proud of that.
Yay.
And I think that's great. And I like that it comes like sort of full circle, a bronze in journeyman's to a bronze in masterclass, with a very different attitude going into it. Because at that point I was like, I'd be happy to just get any sort of feedback, to get anyone to say anything about my piece, to get anyone to notice anything about it, and to have the same people judge it and then tell me that they noticed my improvement. It was just so great. It was so great.
Yeah.
It was great. I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Chat, what was your like gratifying moment? I'm seeing like daughter's first paint job. Yeah. A successful prince after many fails. I know that
Oh yeah.
can be a thing with 3D printing. Oh my gosh. So yeah. Trees. Both of my pieces had trees in them. But it's also like that's my main teacher and like thanks, Figs. And he's all about trees, so yeah. You know, it's not hard to see who I've been like heavily influenced by. If you go and see Seth's stuff, who is Hobby Sensei on Instagram, by the way, if you want to follow him. So, yeah. No, that's super awesome. I think we should start getting into like fan stuff, though. Let's see.
Oh yes.
Yeah, I think we're nearing that time. Is everyone ready for fan stuff? Are you ready for fan stuff?
I'm ready.
Yeah, let's get into fan stuff. Oh, repeat client. That's so nice. That's so nice.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I don't know what this is, but I like the paint job a lot. It was just super clean. I also really liked the skull, and that's really what stood out for me, which I think is what you want when it comes to miniatures, right? Is you want to focus on the face, and that I hear that a lot. So the skull is really what stood out to me, and the subtle like highlighting and shading on it and stuff too. So this is super cool.
I know one thing I was taught in art school was if you look at old master paintings, you know, from like Da Vinci and all of that, and all artists like that, you'll see that there's or I think a big one is blanking on his name, but yeah, you'll see that their face and their hands are highly detailed.
Yeah.
And everything else is not as detailed. And it's all about like the face and the hands. That's where people look.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Ooh, I was about to press the wrong button.
John Singer Sargent. He's a big one that does that.
Oh no, where did the mouse go?
Uh-oh.
It exists, I promise. There it is.
Cool.
The thing that stood out to me was the sword thing or whatever, but like the almost non-metallic look from it was really cool. But I also just like coppery Necrons.
Yeah.
I think they're my favorite, honestly. Is like copper turquoise Necrons. I think that is also like an official coloration for them as well too.
Oh.
Don't quote me on that. But yeah, I think copper Necrons are some of my favorite. But I really liked the sword on this guy. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, it's a really awesome sword.
I think it's a sword. It doesn't look like it's a sword. I'm just gonna call it a sword. I don't know what it actually is, but it's a sword. Broken Chef.
Ah.
Yeah. No, there was a bunch of pictures from Broken Chef. This one stood out the most to me because what did you say it was? It was like
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah. Now I kind of want to see a Space Marine faction of a bunch of just Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Just make a whole bunch of Salamanders turtles.
Ooh.
Right?
Yeah, and just paint their like faces different colors. Ooh, okay.
Yes,
Okay.
give them bandanas.
That's super awesome. But yeah, this is just such a clean paint job. Good job, Broken Chef. Timbit. I remembered.
Yes.
Now, this is the freehand stuff that we showed off last week, but this is what they have then turned it into, which is insane to me.
Amazing.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Not only was the practice eagles, but you did it again and flipped it, and then also like an entire Oni face, which is amazing to me. This is incredible. It's super awesome. But good job.
Mm-hmm.
Great job. I'm blown away. Now this is an axe. Not a sword. I was about to call it a sword. But that's also what stood out to me. It's like purple lightning. I don't know if you can tell, but that I thought that was super cool with all the rust and like the Martian dust and everything like that too. With the purple lightning axe, it stood out. I thought it was great. The purple and the red I think are really cool. So
I always love seeing the different colors people put on their sword, on their like weapons. Like exactly that, or like on the Necron where it had like
the weapon glows.
The weapon glows. Like that.
I like seeing what color people use for like their plasma glows or the weapon or the sword glows and stuff, because it's whatever you want it to be, really. And that usually when I'm like painting, like especially plasma weapons, I'm like, well, okay, and what color I choose is super important. I believe the person who made this said this was like their first kit bash or an attempt at a kit bash. I don't know if it was our first kit bash, but I know that this was a kit bash, and so I really like when people get super creative with poses and like mishmashing like a bunch of different kits and stuff. And thanks, guys, and my axe.
Yes.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm getting more and more into like kit bash stuff, and I think it's really mainly just because now I can tell what are different pieces. Because from before, like especially when it's painted, like you can't really tell like what's sculpted and what's added on and stuff if you don't know already. But it's always been really impressive being like, oh, that piece is from this kit, or whatever. I will never hold that knowledge in my head, but I think now I'm like starting to get like, oh yeah, no, this piece at least doesn't belong to this original kit, and so I'm getting that. So yeah. I also can understand like how hard sometimes it is to like blend pieces together and make them look like they're the same thing. So yeah.
Yeah, that's it's amazing.
Yeah, and I'm sure Brett will like the tactical rocks. This tank was super cool. I don't know if it was like an intentional thing, but the barrel almost looks like it has like a wood grain, which I thought was super cool. I don't know if that was intentional, but I hope it was, and I hope you keep it that way, because it just made it look very old school, like a cannon almost, but I know that a wooden cannon doesn't really make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what it made it look like to me.
Yeah, but it's still cool.
Yeah. It was awesome. Oh no. It's okay. I pressed the wrong thing. We'll just continue to fly through everything.
There we go.
Yeah. This is terrain. I don't know what kit it's from, or if it's from like any one kit in particular, but I just liked all the detail of it. I know that the person who painted this did also these like cool broken plasma pipes as well too, and they made like this like dripping plasma thing out of like a bunch of hot glue, which was really cool. But I liked the chipping and the rust effects on this, so I chose this one. But definitely go and look at the Discord for all the other pictures and stuff, because they take them from like a bunch of different angles and you can see all around it. Yeah, it's in the terrain category on the Discord. So yeah.
Take your terrain to the park day?
Yes. Yeah,
we should
why
do that
not,
one day.
Bryce? Don't you? I think terrain needs a break every once in a while.
Yeah,
right? And
it
not
needs
like,
to run around.
Not like break as in like be broken. It needs that fresh air.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one looks super cool.
Oh, yeah.
Again, tactical rock. But I think it fits. Now, I did see that they unveiled, oh, I'm going to get them so wrong, but they were red and sort of looked like, I think they were Chaos Space Marines, but they unveiled like new Space Marines where they all have like this sort of similar pose, but it makes them look like they're kind of frolicking. I kind of like it. And so now every time I see something with this like running or action pose, I'm like, oh, they're just skipping.
Yeah.
But I liked this guy a lot. I thought it was super cool. And I also just really like the beaky dudes.
Oh, yeah, the beaky ones are so fun.
Yeah. I like the base. I like the tactical rock. Just it was good. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Now I believe that these were, that this was, and also all the pictures underneath it were a bunch of different commissions that someone did, and I liked how clean this looked.
Mm-hmm.
It makes it. It looks like it's from like Hoth.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, like you need some tauntauns or something to wrap around this.
Yes.
Which is just really cool. But I liked it. It was also just such a clean look for like terrain, which you don't normally see, because normally terrain is like super beat up.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, now I'm just picturing this with tauntauns all around it.
Yes. That was my tauntaun noise.
Now, this, super cool. No idea what it is. And I think I was like, oh, I think this is a Zangor thing. Mm-hmm. And you were like, it's like Zangor mixed with
Deepkin.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it looks like a weird alien stingray.
Yeah.
And whenever I think of underwater, I think of Deepkin.
Yeah.
But it has like a Zangor vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what it is. It's a it's a AOS 40K mashup.
I love the scales.
The coloring on it, yeah, and how the skin is like blue, the scales are purple, yeah. That's what I liked about this one too. So, great job on this one. No idea what it is, but I thought it was really cool. I'm just gonna say it's like Zangor Deepkin. Oh, Bill, yeah, great job. Soups, more of soups.
Yeah.
Stuff. Now I believe the ones that we saw last week, blue, something.
Yeah, they were blue. They were like,
blue
horrors.
Things. Yeah, horrors. Yeah.
Yeah, and are these the
yeah.
pink horrors?
Sure,
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go with that. They are now. But yeah, these I liked the. I don't even know what it is. It's like a mace. A horn?
It's like a horn. It's like a whippy horn.
Yeah.
It looks like a whippy horn.
It looks like a water skin. Tactical water skin.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm gonna call it.
Yeah.
But I liked it. It was really cool.
I love the flow of it.
Yeah. Now this was like some steampunk Nurgle thing.
Oh, that's so cool.
I think Nurgle. I'm gonna say Nurgle because there's like a little dude on it, but it just looked very steampunky to me, and which I thought was super cool. I don't know if they're normally, like very steampunky, but that's not usually the feel that I get from them. So I thought that was really cool. Yeah. And also, this was just done super well too. So, yeah. Now this is definitely Nurgle. 100%. I just gotta be more confident. Is a dreadnought. Yeah, I just like the muted brown tones of the armor. I just thought it was really cool. And that's really like a very dusty looking, but also slimy Nurgle, which is just very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the coloring on it.
Yeah, how muted it is. Yeah.
Because like usually I feel like Nurgle is one of those where it's always kind of the same.
Yeah.
You know? So it's nice to see something different. It's almost like a frost Nurgle.
This one, I liked the not axe, but staff thing that looks like an axe, but it's not an axe because that's a cog. So I don't know, but I liked it a lot.
Yes.
It was really cool. And that's like the thing that like super, I was like, oh, I like that weathering. And, you know, I'm like a sucker for good weathering, and this is great weathering on. Yeah, halberd. There you go.
Okay.
I totally said that. That's what I said. But yeah, I just like it. I like it. It's cool. And there we are.
Yeah.
There we are. So great job, everyone. For all the axes and the swords and the halberds that we definitely got right when we called them out.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah, you know, we're learning. We're learning something new every single week. The more we take over the stream, the more we'll learn. So, you know, the more we're left onto our own devices of like, no, that's definitely what this model is, for sure.
Yes.
I think we'll get better.
Yeah. Next time we'll be giving it our own names.
Yeah.
Like, even if we know what it is. Like, that's not a space marine. No, that's like a... I don't know. Give me a week.
Well, next week, I believe Zach will be back.
Yeah.
Who will be on with him? No idea. Probably me. But I think we should just continue this trend.
Yeah, right?
We're just going to make up our own names.
Yeah, there you
go. Because we all know how little Zach knows of Space Marines. So at least I can get away with something like that.
Yeah.
So where are you at in your journey?
Yeah, so...
Oh, you have little mushrooms.
Yeah, I got little mushrooms.
That's
like
so
they're
cute.
They're like little decaying mushrooms, and so they kind of look like flesh. That works.
Let's see. Show that off a little bit. Actually, let's go in a little bit more.
Ooh. Okay, there you go.
Cute
I
little.
don't know if you so. Oh, there we go. Yeah. So you got a little mushroom right there.
Where'd you get those from?
These are cromlech.
Ooh.
Yeah. I saw a pack of them, and I was like, well, they're mushrooms. They're mine. Like anything like that, like little mushrooms or like I don't know. What else does cromlech have?
They have bottles.
Oh yeah.
They have like little like ravens and stuff like that too.
Yeah.
But no, I know what you mean. I have all the mushrooms too.
Yeah. And, you know, I saw them and I was like, I need them. I'm painting trees. They need to have mushrooms. Now they are kind of like decaying mushrooms. And so I spent, like with everything, I spent a lot of time trying to figure out like, how am I going to paint this?
Right.
Like I was looking at other mushrooms. I was like, you know, looking up poisonous mushrooms and like decaying mushrooms. And I kind of landed on this like flesh color. And I was like, yeah, that looks kind of gross. So we're going to go with it. Yeah. But yeah, other than that, these guys are coming along pretty well. I've got all their bases all greenified. You know, they got a whole bunch of different tufts. They've got rocks. They've got mushrooms. And so now I'm just kind of going through and I'm cleaning up the leaves a bit. After that, I'm probably going to try to highlight more of like their faces or their bark or, you know, add some more highlights. But other than that, after that, I'd say they're pretty done. Yeah. Right now it's really just the finishing touches, which is really exciting for me because like I don't finish things. Yeah. These guys have, you know, I bought these guys 4 years ago.
Oh. Wow.
And I put them together, you know, maybe a few months after, and then they've just been sitting in foam for like years.
You put them in foam. Wow, you cheat your stuff way better than I do with mine. They go in cardboard boxes.
Yeah, they they definitely get a nice treatment. But now they're I would happily play with these guys. Yeah. And then I will, I've learned a lot from them. And now I'm going to take them and apply them to like my tree lord. And I think last time I had my Lady of Vines that I was, that was half done. And so I'm going to try to finish her now with, what I have learned from finishing these guys. So,
now, is a Lady of Vines the person that has like the honeycombs inside of her?
No, that's Drycha.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's Drycha. I don't have a Drycha.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's got the honeycombs.
Yeah, that's
and the
like
bees.
the one model that like I can't look at.
Oh, really?
But what is it? Is it trypophobia?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
The thing with the new iPhones, or the iPhones that were new like 3 years ago. Like, how phones now have like the multiple eyes?
Oh.
And so like people were talking about the trypophobia or tryptophobia because of the phones. But
the phones didn't freak me out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think it just has to be more.
Has to be more like a honeycomb.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Or there's a frog that is the worst thing ever. It lays its eggs on its back.
Uh-huh.
And then it forms like this like weird sack covering thing, and then when the frogs are like ready to come out, there's all these little holes and like their feet like poke through and stuff. And I'm about to like creep myself out. But yeah.
Oh,
it's gross. That's what actually watching the Discovery Channel and like having that be on there is when I first discovered that like, oh, this is a thing.
Yeah.
And it was like a horrified, I can't look away. I'm so fascinated, but like I'm also very creeped out. It was when I was a child and I was putting away the Christmas tree, so it's a happy Christmas memory.
Oh.
So, yeah. Anyway. Let's see if we can throw these up on the glam cam really quick. Yeah. So I didn't put any tufts on the little spine guy thing. It's a thing. Mostly just because I think I severely overestimated or underestimated how long it takes me to do something like this. But let's get your stuff up there too.
Yeah, let's put a few of these guys. Let's have them frolicking about.
Yeah, siege roots. Yeah, I get you. I feel you. I'm sorry, but yeah, there's a frog that is the bane of my existence. And yeah, other than that, frogs are really cute. Like, those are turtles, but close enough. I would say close enough. So let's get that going.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so happy. I'm so happy that they look different too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Because that was like a goal. Is like I'm painting the same thing, but I don't want it to look the same. And I feel like I use very similar colors at least, but like the washing and everything like that was like very, very, very different. I think I'm gonna make the teeth a little bit more gross, maybe more brown.
Okay.
But yeah. How you feeling?
Pretty good. Yeah. I'm loving it. I love basing, and I love just putting green. Yeah. Just dumping it in grass, and so I'm really happy with the bases of my dudes.
You can see the pistachio.
Yeah, the pistachio.
So much. Yes, I love it. I love it.
Yeah. I love how like dirtier the skulls, the bones that you did over the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love how grungier it looks.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. That was definitely my goal. I think I wanted it to be able to be like something that I could put in like a swamp
Yeah.
or whatever. Or like other environments, not just like, oh, that's for this table and this table alone.
Yeah.
I am putting the same color flowers on it just so that I can use it. But yeah. I'm sure I can use it for other stuff too.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, I'm sure Zach will be back next week unless he gets con cred. Hopefully not. But yeah. Other than that, Lindsay, it has been an absolute pleasure.
Yes.
So yeah,
It's been very fun. I'll miss this. I'll miss throwing glitter all over the place.
We'll have you back, I'm sure. Yeah, so Lindsay, we're not kicking Lindsay out. She works on the other side of the studio. So yeah, other than that, next week's up in the air completely. I'll probably be back to working on my tank. I'm feeling more inspired and a bit more brave to touch it again because I was a little bit scared of messing it up, but I think at this point I just got to go for it. So
let's do it.
Yeah. Thank you guys for joining us. Yeah. And as we always say, be kind to each other. Be kind to each other, be kind to yourselves, and always be creating. Bye, guys.
Bye.